When a forgotten film, a groundbreaking AI DeepSeek, and Tom Hanks come together, one woman uncovers a family secret that changes everything. What she finds will leave you speechless. The small study in Laura's house was filled with the quiet hum of discovery. Sunlight streamed through the lace curtains, casting a warm glow on the stacks of documents and old photos spread across the wooden desk. Laura, a 29-year-old history enthusiast with a penchant for unraveling mysteries, sat cross-legged in her chair, poring over her grandfather's journal. She had inherited it only recently, along with a dusty box of keepsakes, after her grandmother's passing. Inside, she had found snippets of a life she barely knew. A man who had once been a cameraman in the 1950s film industry. Her grandfather, Henry, had passed away before she was born, leaving behind whispers of his creative genius. According to her grandmother, he had worked on a few forgotten film projects before his career abruptly ended. But why had no one in the family spoken more about him? Why had his name disappeared into obscurity, leaving only fragments of his story behind? Laura's heart raced as she uncovered a photograph tucked into the back of the journal. It was a black and white image of her grandfather, holding an old film camera, standing on what looked like a bustling movie set. The caption, scrawled in faded ink, read, "The Golden Reel, 1950. Laura had never heard of the title before, but something about it tugged at her, a sense that this film was significant. She decided it was time to dig deeper. She turned to her laptop, her fingers hovering over the keys. For her, research always began online, and today she had a new ally, DeepSeek, an AI tool she'd recently read about, capable of sifting through vast archives and unearthing hidden connections. If anyone, or anything, could help her uncover the truth about her grandfather's legacy, it was this revolutionary technology. Laura opened DeepSeek, its sleek interface glowing on her screen. She typed in the words, "The Golden Reel, 1950, Henry Cameraman." The AI quickly processed the query, displaying thousands of results, from old articles to film archives. Laura scrolled through the summaries until one entry caught her attention, an article from 1951 titled, "The Lost Footage of the Golden Reel." Her breath hitched as she clicked on the link. The article described how the film, once poised to be a groundbreaking cinematic achievement, was shelved after a devastating fire at the studio destroyed most of the footage. The director, a young visionary named Charles Worth, had vanished from Hollywood shortly after. The article also mentioned that Henry the cameraman was rumored to have saved a portion of the reels, although this was never confirmed. Laura's mind buzzed with possibilities. Could her grandfather have been part of something extraordinary? But as she delved deeper into the story, another name appeared. Tom Hanks. A modern-day Hollywood icon, Hanks had recently spoken in an interview about his fascination with lost films and his ongoing efforts to recover missing pieces of cinematic history. A thrill coursed through Laura. Could she contact him? Would he even respond to a story like hers? Gripping the edge of her desk, she whispered, "Only one way to find out." Laura spent the next few hours drafting and redrafting her email. She poured her heart into it, sharing what little she knew of her grandfather's role in the Golden Reel. She also explained how DeepSeek had led her to rediscover this part of her family's past, and emphasized her desire to preserve his legacy. With trembling hands, she clicked send. The days that followed were excruciating. Every time her phone pinged, her heart leapt, only to sink again when it wasn't the response she hoped for. Just as she was beginning to lose hope, an email arrived. The subject line read, "Let's talk, Tom Hanks." Laura gasped, her heart racing as she opened the email. It was brief but warm. Tom wrote that he was intrigued by her story, and invited her to a meeting at his studio in Los Angeles to discuss the project further. "Your grandfather's legacy deserves to be explored," he wrote. Tears welled in Laura's eyes as she read and reread the message. For the first time in years, she felt a connection to her roots and to something greater than herself. Laura arrived at the studio with her heart pounding in her chest. She had never been to Los Angeles, let alone to meet someone as iconic as Tom Hanks. The reception area was grand, yet inviting, and she nervously clutched the small box of mementos she had brought. A few letters, a black and white photograph of her grandfather, and a faded program from the Golden Reel premiere. Tom greeted her personally, his demeanor as warm and approachable as she'd imagined. "Laura," he said, extending his hand, "it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm fascinated by what you've uncovered." Laura felt a surge of relief at his kind words. They sat in a cozy meeting room filled with movie memorabilia. As she laid out her grandfather's story, Tom listened intently, nodding and occasionally jotting down notes. He seemed particularly intrigued by the significance of the Golden Reel and its influence on cinema during a pivotal time in Hollywood history. "You know," Tom said after a thoughtful pause, "your grandfather's story isn't just about one film. It's about the unsung heroes of storytelling. These are the people who shaped our industry, but often go unrecognized." Laura beamed at his enthusiasm. "That's exactly how I feel. I just want people to know what he contributed, even if it's decades later." Tom smiled warmly. "And I'd like to help you make that happen." Tom suggested a plan to bring her grandfather's contributions back into the spotlight. "We'll use my connections and the platform of storytelling to honor his legacy," he explained. "But first, we need to verify every piece of this puzzle. That's where DeepSeek comes in." Laura hadn't expected Tom to be so hands-on, but he took a genuine interest in her grandfather's story. He arranged a meeting with an expert team who specialized in using DeepSeek for historical and cinematic research. The AI platform, renowned for sifting through archives, film reels, and forgotten documents, could provide the validation they needed. At the meeting, Tom introduced Laura to the researchers. Laura's grandfather worked on the Golden Reel, and I think we're about to uncover something extraordinary, he said. The researchers eagerly began their work, inputting the details Laura had shared, including her grandfather's name, project dates, and connections to early Hollywood studios. As DeepSeek's algorithms combed through decades of film history, Laura and Tom waited in anticipation. The screen lit up with results, old contracts, telegrams, and even handwritten notes. One document revealed her grandfather's name listed as a creative consultant, confirming his significant role in the film's production. Another unearthed a series of letters between him and a studio head, detailing the challenges he faced in creating innovative techniques for the movie. Tom leaned closer to the screen, his expression a mix of admiration and excitement. "Your grandfather wasn't just a contributor," he said. "He was a pioneer." Armed with irrefutable proof, Tom Hanks took the next steps to bring her grandfather's legacy to light. He proposed the idea of creating a documentary, a film that would not only honor the making of the Golden Reel, but also highlight the forgotten genius behind it. "Hollywood thrives on stories," Tom said, "and this is one that deserves to be told." Laura couldn't believe what was unfolding. "You'd really help make this happen?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. Tom smiled. "Some stories are too important to remain untold. This is one of them." The project gained momentum quickly. Tom's involvement ensured access to resources and attention that Laura never thought possible. The documentary team used DeepSeek's findings to create a compelling narrative, piecing together archival footage, letters, and interviews with industry historians. Laura even contributed by sharing personal anecdotes about her grandfather's life and values. As the documentary neared completion, Laura visited the editing studio with Tom. Watching her grandfather's story unfold on the screen brought her to tears. There he was, a visionary with dreams, facing challenges yet remaining steadfast. It wasn't just about his technical contributions, but his enduring spirit, which Tom eloquently captured in the narration he personally recorded. The documentary's title, Real Legacy, The Forgotten Pioneer of Hollywood, encapsulated everything Laura had hoped for. It wasn't just a tribute to her grandfather, it was a bridge connecting her past to a brighter future. The premiere of Real Legacy was nothing short of magical. Held at a historic theater in Los Angeles, the event was attended by Hollywood's elite, film historians, and Laura's family. For Laura, it felt surreal. She stood in the crowd, overwhelmed by the grandeur and the significance of the moment. Tom Hanks introduced the documentary with heartfelt words. Tonight, we celebrate a man whose contributions shaped the very foundation of the industry we love. Through Laura's determination and the power of technology like DeepSeek, we've uncovered a story that reminds us why cinema matters, not just as entertainment, but as a means to preserve human legacy. The film opened with archival footage of the golden reel and transitioned into a narrative that highlighted her grandfather's life. The audience was captivated. There were audible gasps during moments of adversity and applause when his innovations were showcased. By the end, tears filled many eyes as the story came full circle, illustrating how Laura's journey reignited his legacy. After the film ended, the crowd erupted into a standing ovation. Industry figures approached Laura, commending her perseverance and expressing admiration for her grandfather's brilliance. Some even proposed restoration projects for the golden reel and educational initiatives to spotlight forgotten contributors to cinema. In the weeks following the premiere, the impact of Real Legacy rippled far beyond Hollywood. The film received critical acclaim, with major publications praising its storytelling and the way it shed light on unsung heroes of cinema. For Laura, though, the most meaningful outcome was the personal connections it fostered. Film schools across the country began incorporating segments of the documentary into their curricula, and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced the creation of the Ellis Archer Award for Innovation in Film. This honor would recognize individuals who, like Ellis, had changed the landscape of filmmaking in transformative ways. Laura found herself at the center of a growing movement to document and honor lesser-known film pioneers. She worked alongside historians, filmmakers, and technologists to continue digitizing forgotten archives, ensuring that no story like her grandfather's would ever be lost again. DeepSeek, too, gained widespread recognition for its role in uncovering Ellis Archer's legacy. As more people learned of its capabilities, the platform became a valuable tool for genealogists, historians, and archivists worldwide. For Laura, it wasn't just a tool anymore. It was a bridge to her family's past. Sitting in her living room one quiet evening, Laura reflected on how her life had changed. Her grandfather's story, once a mystery, was now a source of pride and inspiration. The shelves that had once held unread books and photo albums were now filled with memorabilia from the journey, old film reels, the award Ellis had received posthumously, and a signed photo of Tom Hanks with the words, "To Laura, for your courage in telling the stories that matter. Thank you for letting me be part of it." Laura clutched a faded photograph of her grandfather, taken long before she was born. The young man in the picture looked confident and hopeful, his camera slung casually over his shoulder. She smiled, imagining the pride he might feel, knowing his work had finally been celebrated. Her phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. It was an email from a museum in New York, asking for permission to exhibit Ellis Archer's rediscovered films. Smiling to herself, Laura replied, "Yes, of course. His story belongs to everyone." Months later, at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new exhibit titled Ellis Archer, A Visionary Uncovered, Laura stood on stage with Tom Hanks, DeepSeek's founder, and other collaborators. As she addressed the crowd, her voice carried a mixture of gratitude and resolve. "Stories are how we connect across generations," she said. "They remind us who we are and where we come from. My grandfather's legacy might have been forgotten, but thanks to innovation, collaboration, and a little courage, it's now a story that will inspire generations to come." The audience erupted in applause, and Laura felt a wave of peace wash over her. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative. She had gone from a granddaughter searching for answers to a storyteller ensuring that history would never forget. As she stepped off the stage, Tom Hanks leaned in and said, "You did good, kid. Ellis would be proud." Laura looked out at the crowd, seeing faces of all ages drawn to the story of a man whose work had once been lost in time. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had done her part to preserve not just her family's history, but a piece of cultural heritage. In the end, Laura realized something profound. The past is never truly gone. It's always there, waiting to be rediscovered and reconnected to the present. And with tools like DeepSeek and the passion of people like her, the stories that shape us will never fade away.